The suspected murderer of UnitedHealthcare CEO Brian Thompson caught and arrested yesterday after 5 days on the run. 26-year-old Luigi Mangione is facing several charges in New York. He's been charged with second-degree murder, along with 3 other gun-related charges. In Pennsylvania, he faces 5 more charges, including forgery, carrying a gun without a license, and lying about his identity to officers. His arrest coming after a tip from a McDonald's in Altoona, Pennsylvania. An employee called the police after recognizing the suspect, who authorities say was carrying a gun believed to be the one used to shoot Thompson. Authorities say the gun may have been 3D printed. He was also found with fake IDs and writings expressing ill will toward corporate America. So who is Luigi Mangione? We know he is a 26-year-old originally from Maryland, although is believed to have been living in Hawaii prior to the shooting. He graduated from the University of Pennsylvania with a bachelor's and master's degree in engineering, and he was part of the Honor Society for Electrical and Computer Engineering. Mangione is being held without bail this morning in Pennsylvania, in a jail in Pennsylvania, while awaiting extradition to New York. Joining me now is former NYPD lieutenant and former law enforcement professor at Pace University, Darrin Porcher. Darrin, thanks so much for joining us this morning. Your reaction?
Thanks for having me, Maria. I thought that he would have been arrested much sooner, but fortunately, he's been taken into custody. And this is a testament to the symbiotic relationship between police, community, and also the media, because the media did a tremendous job in getting that blast out as it relates to the picture of when he removed or lowered his mask in that hostel, which gave us a display of what his face looked like. So now the prosecution is going to move forth with the agenda of how they're going to gain a conviction. We already have the arrest, but the conviction is going to hinge on us gaining the witnesses, such as the 2 people that were on the street when he actually shot the CEO, as well as that hotel clerk that where the subject displayed his face in particular.
Well, I mean, do we understand what the motive is at this point? I mean, it's just extraordinary when you look at this kid's background. The suspect was an Ivy Leaguer, anti-capitalist leanings, coming from a prominent family. And they own country clubs. I mean, what do we know about his background, in your view, that informs us about a motive?
This is more of an aberration than the norm, and I see strong parallels between the subject in this case and Brian Kohlberger, who killed the college students in Idaho. These are people that did not have a criminal record, but they were fascinated with the aspect of committing murder. And that's what manifested on the streets of New York when we had this violent suspect that killed the CEO of UnitedHealthcare.
Well, I mean, do we know in terms of his level of sophistication in all of this? I mean, look, there was a silencer on the gun. It appeared when he first took the first shot, it got stuck and he fixed it. Do you think this is a professional or an amateur?
This is clearly an amateur. When we first saw footage of the shooting, it appeared as if this was a professional. But when we see the series of missteps that he participated in throughout the course of his entry and exit from New York, as well as the homicide, it was clear that this was an amateur. He left behind a treasure trove of DNA evidence, and coupled with the footage that we captured and with security cameras. So this is someone I want to say he didn't know what he was doing, but he believed that he knew what he was doing.
And what does his fate look like in your view?
His fate looks like life imprisonment. And what the great thing is, the NYPD detectives, along with a prosecutor from New York City, have actually sat down with this individual, and they're amassing any and everything to ensure that they're able to reach the status of beyond a reasonable doubt, which would be a conviction in a criminal trial. There's just too much. We have the firearm. We actually have the homicide on video. We have him in possession of the fake ID that he used at the hostel when he stayed in New York. So we just have so much, and it's just a matter of time.
Yeah, don't forget those bullets as well, the shell casings that he wrote words on. delay, depose, deny. Lee Carter, jump in here. This is just an extraordinary case.
You talked a little bit about his fascination with murder, and I get that on the one hand, but it seemed like he had a fascination with anti-capitalism, anti-corporate, and I mean, it's a trend that's happening among people on the left. But all of these things that he's talking about seem to be his manifesto, et cetera. Can you tell me a little bit about that kind of an ideology? Is that something that we're seeing more trends in? And I mean, it's really disturbing to think this is where we're headed.
It bifurcates in both aspects. The dislike towards corporate America, as well as the fascination with murder. But the one thing that I'm concerned about is all Americans at some point have been denied a claim with a healthcare coverage company. And so that may be a platform that he uses when he's in court, which may gain a sympathizer on the jury. But I think that you have so much that represents that this was such a heinous act that I genuinely believe that we're going to have a conviction on the back end.